Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about No Means Maybe, baby. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Hello, Patra! I am a newer fan of you and your videos, and I got hooked on them after I was introduced to you by a couple of my friends who also listen. We have deemed your drama stories as our soap operas due to the salacious drama people share with you. My friends and I have had our fair share of drama in the game, involving everything from roleplay gone wrong, lost friendships, to even bad raid groups. So, hearing about other people's drama is weirdly cathartic for us. It's so good, right? I love reading them too. I always joked we should send in some of our stories. So I figured, why not send what is easily the most cringe-inducing and melodramatic story that happened to me in the world of Eorzea. Thanks for reading, and please grab some popcorn and a drink because I think you will need it. It's a bit of a long one. This story is what my friends and I refer to as the wellspring of regret. Opie's like, this is a bit of a long one, but you know what? The one later is even longer. Before I jump into the story, I do feel like it would be a good time to state here that I am happily married, and my husband also plays Final Fantasy XIV. It is something we play together, but have never bonded our characters together, or even role-played them as a couple. We also both partake in the social aspects of Final Fantasy XIV as female characters. So we enjoy going out together as a couple of girls on the town versus a couple during date night. Oh, that's so cute! Sounds like you guys have a blast together. My husband and I also have an extensive history in theater and performing arts, and so there is a clear line for us between the character and the person behind them. So please, before anyone comes at me sideways wondering why all this happened when I am married, just know that we both partake in roleplay in one way, shape, or form, and in no way does it change anything between us. Thank you. Okay. Chapter 1. The First Meeting. I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV since the very beginning of 2014. I started all the way back in ARR and played with a group of friends. From my first login, I was hooked. I have always loved Final Fantasy games, and specifically have a special place in my heart for Final Fantasy X. Please remember that, because it does come back later. When I first started playing, I played only with friends and never branched out into the more social aspects of the game, besides the occasional pairing with randos in dungeons and raids. But fast forward to 2022, when this story takes place. It's like, dude, did you not have drama for that long? Holy moly. You dodged so many bullets. Only in 2022 you had drama. Okay. I had been introduced to the world of role-playing, venues, and club hopping. I will admit, I got wrapped up in it all as it was a welcome distraction from real life. And what isn't fun about going to a nicely decorated house, listening to good music while hanging out and meeting new people? As I mentioned above, although I am happily married, my husband and I found it fun to go out, dress our characters up in the cutest outfits, and then people watch. Ooh, yes. I could totally relate with this, OP, because I love to people watch also. We made many friends on our adventures, and some of them I have gotten very close with, and consider them some of my best friends. That being said, what I also learned is that not everyone feels the same way about the line between their characters and themselves as we do. Now, I will introduce the other main player in the story, who I will call Redford. It all started when I was out at a venue with some friends, and I received the /tell notification along with a message asking about my FC tag. It was Redford. Little did I know this interaction would lead me down the path it did. I looked up his character and saw he was a male Mikote. He was a seeker of the sun like myself, with yellow hair and red highlights. He stood out to me, and I have to admit, I am partial to male Mikotes. We got to talking more, and at first, he seemed like a nice guy. Of course, I was role-playing as I did whenever I went to a venue, and I play my character to be sweet and flirty. So there were a few flirty comments, but nothing too overtly bad in my opinion. Apparently, this read far differently to Redford. Redford invited me to another venue he was going to go to, so he could meet up with some friends, and I agreed to tag along. This was my first mistake. But how would you have known? It's hindsight 2020. I can just read. The chat is going nuts as I'm reading. I can see it moving in the corner of my eye, and I'm just like, what are they all saying? RP, check. Club, check. Nice guy, check. I like that. That's a funny ass comment. Once we arrived, he introduced me to his group of friends, and we hit the dance floor. The night was going great, and we had some decent conversation. That was until some of it started to drift out of the realm of RP, and he began asking me questions pertaining to the me outside of the game. Things like, do I like other Final Fantasy games? Which one is your favorite? What's your favorite anime? I tried my best to give short, sweet answers without engaging too much. Going down that road, I knew this could lead to a lot of trouble. Redford told me a lot about himself, though, like his age and occupation, and even where he lived. He also told me, I have 2 friends of mine that met in the game, and they are married now. I hope to have the same someday. Oh my god. He told you so much in the first meeting. He told you a lot about his life and his future plans of how he's looking for a lady. In order to not come off as a total bitch, I just awkwardly responded, "Aw, that's cute. I hope you do too." I hope you do too, buddy. Tapping his shoulder. I knew at that moment I probably should have answered differently, or maybe worded it better. But I was so distracted by the awkwardness of the whole thing that I just kind of said whatever nicely thing I could and moved the conversation along. This opened the door for Redford to invite me to watch an anime with him sometime over Discord. And I quickly shot that down. You have to be pretty close as friends to do that, or it is a bit romantic also. I told him at that time that when it came to real life beyond the game, I could not be that person for him as I was with someone, and that any hangout sessions could only happen in-game. I thought that I made that very clear, but I kept speaking with him, and maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to do. Of course, hindsight is 2020. And looking back now, I could have probably avoided a lot of this if I had just stopped talking then and there. But sometimes it is interesting to see where the thread leads. And if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't have this story for you to read now and share with everyone. Okay, that's kind of true though. After this awkward exchange, Redford changed the subject to a more mild one and asked me what my favorite area in the game was. I told him about my favorite area, which is Elpis, specifically the spot in Elpis near the Anagnorisis Aetheryte, where there is a bridge with a couple of corporkers. I've never said this word in my life. With a couple of corporkers sitting on it. I love corporkers, and the bridge has a nice view of a river and surrounding area. It was a place I randomly discovered in the MSQ, and just like to post myself up there sometimes. Redford told me that his favorite place was in Mordona, looking out at the Crystal Tower. We decided to take a trip to our favorite spots, and I hoped this would ground us back in the world of Eorzea. Oh my god, wait, you guys went to your favorite spots together? You know how he's gonna look at this. He's gonna be like, oh my god, that was so romantic. Me and OP in our favorite spots. And he's looking for a girl. That's his, like, goals. We visited Elpis for a little bit, and then he suggested going to his spot. He teleported away, but instead of being offered a free teleport to Revenant's Toll, it was to Ultima Thule. I followed him to a spot at the top right off the map, near the abode of Ea Aetheryte, called the Wellspring of Regret. The area is gorgeous and a great spot to G-pose. It is a small spring that looks like it has the stars reflecting in the water. Unfortunately for me, it is aptly named, and what followed is, to this day, one of the most cringe-inducing role-playing experiences I have ever encountered. Okay, what happens here? Redford jumped in the water and started swimming. His character beckoned mine in as he typed in the party chat to join him, as the water felt great. I roleplayed, walked into the spring, and began to swim around until our characters were face to face. It was at this time that he had his character kiss mine. I didn't write or roleplay anything back, as I was sitting on the other side of my screen, slowly blinking. He then pulled back his character and said, "Oh gosh, I didn't mean for this to be just like the Titus and Yuna scene from Final Fantasy X. Remember when I said Final Fantasy X is my favorite game in the series? Yeah, so did he." No! Oh my god. Everyone in the chat's like, please, no, stop. I hate this. Taking notes. This is too cringe. Oh, I mean, you know, it's a little cute and cringe, like, combined. It's so funny. It's really cringe if you're not into the guy. It could be cute if you're into the guy. Oh my god. Oh, my eyes are tearing up. I couldn't believe what I was reading at this point. I felt a mixture of cringe and embarrassment. I had to stop myself from laughing as I watched this all unfold. His character led the whole one-sided interaction, and I just stood there in disbelief. I couldn't think of what to say, so I just suggested going back to the venue we had just been at. Desperate to leave this now soiled place, I teleported away and hoped to be rid of the Wellspring of Regret forever. Well, now it's gonna be up on YouTube forever. Our night wrapped up after that. Wait, I just thought of, like, dude, he's gonna see this. He's gonna see this on YouTube. Maybe. I wonder if he's gonna be like, fuck, I'm never doing that again then. Our night wrapped up after that, and he had made plans again to meet up the following night, as one of his favorite DJs was going to be at a venue that my friend and I always hung out at on Saturday nights. I'm sure some of the audience is probably screaming at me right now. Yeah. Wait. You went out with him again, but, like, at least you're with other people. At least you're with other people, right? Why would I make more plans with this guy? Well, like I said, sometimes it's fun to see where the thread will lead you. Chapter 2, The Club. It was the next day, and we reached our agreed upon meeting time. I had let a couple of my friends know that I would be hanging out with Redford as well, but that we can probably all still chat. One of those people was a fellow cat girl, and I will be referring to as Emilia. Emilia was actually a guy who played a cute cat girl that I had met previously at another venue, and we became fast friends. Emilia told me that if anything seemed weird, He would be happy to come and save me if I needed. I didn't think at the start of the night that I would need Emilia's help, but boy was I wrong. The night at the venue started out pretty normal, but turned crazy really quickly. We talked about the venue and the DJ and how the day had gone for us both before Redford started to get a bit clingy and weird. He asked me at that point if I wanted to be exclusive and his girlfriend. The great honor of being his girlfriend meant that I could no longer interact with other male characters in game, and I would have the distinct honor of going with him to events. I told him again that I am not available to be anyone's actual girlfriend due to my relationship status outside of the game, and that when it came to the game, I like to just go with the flow and not be tied down. My character was very much the type to take things one day at a time and go wherever the wind takes her. Redford simply responded, "Well, the wind brought you to me. It is telling you that you need a home." Oh my god. Redford was not getting it. I kept telling him that I could not commit my character to him like that. I even apologized for not being able to be that person for him. But Redford kept pushing. He was saying things like that he felt our meeting was serendipitous and that he couldn't just let what we had go, and asking me questions like how long it would have been before I cheated on him or fooled around with other characters. What the heck? We had literally just met and he was acting like we were in a sappy rom-com or that I was somehow the love of his life. I was done with this conversation, and that is when I sent a whisper to Emilia, who came right over to come dance near me. This annoyed Redford even more. He began asking about Emilia and wondering why she was coming around us. He asked, "Doesn't she know we're on a date? It's rude to interrupt. Your attention should fully be on me." Oh my god. At this point, just annoyed with the conversation and sick of trying to be polite, I told him I would be back and jumped on stage to dance with a group of my friends. My intention was just to end the conversation forever. I don't know how I could have handled it any better, but me ignoring him just threw him into a tailspin. He threw a temper tantrum and stormed out of the venue, telling me, "I will be in my spot if you want to talk." I did not follow him. I know he wanted me to, but I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. I knew that chasing him down is what he wanted, but that would give the impression that I wanted to have something with him, which was the furthest thing from the truth. So I just spent the rest of the night hanging out with my friends at the venue. I shared my story and we all laughed at the cringe and some of the lines he said. I went about my night and even the next few days hearing without anything more from Redford and praising the 12 that this was the end of the whole thing. Chapter 3, Elpis. It's too much laughing. There's more. Yeah, there's more. Oh yes, there's more. This ain't the end. Chapter 3, Elpis. I had hoped I wouldn't hear from Redford again, but sadly, that was not the case. A few days later, I received that whispered notification while I was running some front lines with a group of friends. It was Redford. I groaned as I read his attempts to try get me to talk to him. He tried to say anything he could to get me to meet up with him, and saying the sappiest things to me in my whispers. Gems such as, "I guess I just wanted to see you," and "Let's not worry about anything more than now. I just want to be with you. Just talk and see what happens and not worry about anything more." I had thought it was pretty clear that whatever he wanted to happen between us as far as being in a relationship was not going to happen. So him reaching out to me was not only odd, but cringeworthy. The whole thing was starting to get out of hand. So I responded telling him I wanted to talk, and this time it was going to be the end of the whole thing. I left my friends and went to Elpis, where we agreed to meet at my favorite spot on the bridge. Oh damn, you guys had a private meeting to make the official last statement. But of course, I did not go alone, as a few of my friends and my husband all stayed close by, ready to swoop in if needed. I started the conversation off by telling him that I didn't want anything further to come from us hanging out, since I could not be his actual girlfriend, and he was clearly looking for something like that. But every time I would say we could not continue whatever interactions we had had, he would counter with something else. He just kept going on and speaking in circles. He talked about how he wants to still hang out with me and that he wouldn't fall in love with me. But one line always stuck out to me, even to this day. I don't want any drama if someone comes along and wants more from me than you are ready to give. Redford's basically saying, like, you know, I could get picked up by someone else one day and you're gonna regret it, basically, right? He says, so I don't want any drama if someone comes along and wants more from me than you are ready to give. This line made me mad. The audacity, I thought, that he thought of himself so highly that I would be mad if he got a girlfriend. So I turned cold and maybe even a little mean. I told him I didn't care what he did, because honestly, I didn't. But my coldness didn't steer from his mission to win me over, and he just kept pushing and pushing. He kept bringing up all the serendipitous things that had happened since we met, like the fact that both our characters were wearing white that day, or how he didn't mean to recreate the scene from Final Fantasy X, but it just happened like that. In Redford's mind, these were all signs that pointed to us being perfect for each other and that we were meant to be. Oh, he wants a... That's his movie. Like, he wants to find a Final Fantasy XIV girlfriend and have movie-like scenes like that. I just let him talk, but I didn't really respond. I had no more to say to him beyond what I had already. I just wanted out of the situation and told him that I needed to think. If I could just get away, then I could just ghost him and clean my hands of the whole thing. Wait, did you tell Redford you needed to think? Because that's gonna make him think that you're thinking of both of you, the possibility of both of you. Oh my god, I hope he didn't think that, or I hope you used different words. So I did just that. I cut the conversation and teleported away, but not before grabbing screenshots of the conversation. I felt a sense of relief that this was over. I took Redford off my friends list and planned to now finally move on with my life. The finale. The wellspring of regrets. You didn't think the story would end as easily as that, did you? Unfortunately, I too was tricked into thinking I had a happy ending on the bridge in Elpis. A few weeks later, I was living peacefully in the world of Eorzea. I hadn't heard from Redford, and life was great. I was living life like the whole thing never happened. Emilia and I even decided to bond our characters so we could get the in-game items. It was a good setup for us since we both knew we weren't crazy, that it wouldn't mean something intense and personal like it does for some people. We were busy celebrating and hanging out with some friends when the most serendipitous thing happened. A whisper notification and that pink font with a message from Redford. I couldn't believe it. Why all of a sudden did he message me? I hadn't reached out to him, nor had I attempted to, but there he was, in my whispers, asking me what had happened and saying he was worried about me since he hadn't heard from me. Needless to say, I did not respond. I had officially ghosted Redford. Plus, I knew if I said anything, it would open the door to more conversation. So I hoped my silence would give him enough of a hint to stay away. I had, of course, told my husband about the tell from Redford. I never hid anything that I did in Final Fantasy XIV from him. A lot of the time, he would actually get a kick out of the cringe that took place. He loved hearing about the drama almost as much as I do. I had let him know that my approach would be to ignore Redford. Though my husband felt I should have told him once again that I was not interested in anything and to stop messaging me. The situation is a clear example of the difference in experiences between men and women when it comes to rejecting a person. He thought it would be so easy just to say, "Go away." And he thought this man would have enough respect to honor that. But what I and so many other women know is that these type of guys take a no as a challenge. Hey, you know, this is kind of true. This is kind of true. Like, we know how it is. So it's so funny that her husband's like, why didn't you just tell him you're not interested? It's so simple. And Opie's like, it's not that simple. Sometimes ignoring them is the best way. I stood by my plan and told him that I just wanted to ignore Redford and hope the problem would go away. So this is when my husband got to learn what it is like for a woman to reject an incel by taking things into his own hands. The following day, with my permission, while I was away at work, my husband decided to log into my account as my character in order to break it off with Redford once and for all. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, I'm dying here. He assumed that maybe I just hadn't been stern enough or serious enough with my rejection. He believed that he would do the hard work for me and finally rid me of the plague known as Redford. As soon as he logged in as my character, he was reached out by Amelia, who also agreed to help him with his plan. My husband reached out to Redford and traveled to Behemoth, Redford's homeworld, to confront the big bad villain. Oh my god. He's actually going all the way to Redford. As you may imagine, the conversation did not go well. In fact, it went terribly. My husband started out telling Redford to basically kick rocks. Redford was not having that though, and began to implement the tactics most incels do and blame it all on me. He tried to gaslight my husband by stating that I never knew what I wanted, and he even tried once again to bargain to get my character to ERP with him. For the record, we never engaged in that kind of roleplay at all, and so it makes his obsession with me even crazier in my opinion. My husband told Redford that I had gotten bonded to Amelia, and that was when Amelia teleported in with our rings as proof to further cement this fact. It didn't change anything in Redford's mind though. He kept pushing for an arrangement where we still messed around even with my new marital status in game. He even stated that he loved me, not my character, but me. And yet he apparently knew that he loved me as a person. And of course, the ironic and funny thing is that he was saying this to a person that actually loves me outside of the game. I wonder what the husband is thinking right now. When it was clear that the conversation wasn't going anywhere, my husband once again told him no. And that's when my character's body was subjected to what could be considered sexual harassment of the pixels. Redford roleplayed pulling my character in forcefully and kissing her against her will. My husband, who was in shock at this point by the whole conversation and the turn it took, roleplayed slapping Redford's character right across the face. My husband also lit the beacon, as we say, by posting it in our FC chat about the exchange. This caused one of my best friends to instantly go to Behemoth and support Amelia to ensure no further shenanigans occurred. My husband kept telling Redford that any further interactions were forbidden, but Redford kept manipulating the situation to make it appear like I was in the wrong for the whole thing. Until finally it was over. Did Redford get the hint? I don't know, because he was blacklisted shortly after, so that any and all contact he attempted to make would be stopped. And that was it. That was the official end to the Redford saga. I don't think about Redford much anymore, only when I happen to see the screenshots of our conversations and have the twinge of cringe arise. But I will say, the one thing I learned from Redford is to always be cautious of responding to whispers from random people, because you never know what can of worms is about to be opened. Thank you for reading, and I hope you enjoyed. Oh my god. Wait, that sounds like a whole ass drama went down in Behemoth server. I know Redford was really like annoying OP a lot, but it sounded like one random day, you know, the husband going into OP's account and be like, I'm putting a stop to this right now. So they show up in front of Redford and Redford's like, oh, okay. Hey, OP, what you doing here? And then the husband's like, Redford, you're gonna stop right now. Like, obviously Redford didn't even know that was the husband behind the character. And then like all of OP's friends came to back OP's character up. So it must have been like, I don't know, 4 people standing in front of Redford causing like some serious showdown of like, you're gonna leave OP alone or else. And then he tried to bargain still, like, no, like, we should totally still be a thing. New name is not Redford, it's Red Flag. So what I really liked about this story is the part when the husband was obviously in the account, because it is really nice if a guy were to truly get behind like their girlfriend's character or their wife's character, to see how it feels is really, really funny. Sometimes, yeah, you get in those situations where you say no and they still don't get it. Yeah, no means no, but for some people, they think it still means there's a chance. Like, they're like, there's still a small sliver of a chance. I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try. Huh? Yo, we got a full house in the amphitheater. Let's go. Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome to the story time. The chances are small, but never zero. Yeah, it's like, never say never. That was his mindset. That was Redford's mindset. I understand OP not blacklisting immediately. I do too. I wouldn't either until later. Sometimes it feels hard too when you don't want to be seen as stuck up, especially when newly exploring the RP world. You get to a point where you don't care, and being protected is more important than the weirdo's feelings. So I'll give you a little bit of like my perspective on it, like based on like what I do. And I think even till this day, I don't even have anyone on my blacklist, even for rating. I know I'm not in the roleplay scene, but maybe if I was in the roleplay scene, I probably would have a blacklist. I don't know. I always feel like, you know, just be nice about it first and then like ignore. And if they kept bothering me over and over and over, then yeah, eventually they will be on my blacklist. But I always feel like, you know, time will heal. I hope they change. So yeah, it's never gotten to that point where I had to blacklist anyone, thankfully. But like, there are people out there that you definitely have to blacklist at some point. I think what it is that most girls don't want to create problems, you know, like, how I was raised, I don't know, somewhere along the way, I was taught, like, maybe because I was like a girl in an Asian country growing up, I was taught, like, you know, never cause any problems. Just always be quiet and like, and if someone had a problem, like a guy has a problem with you or someone else has a problem with you, you just sort of it's almost like you just move on and ignore it and not address it, which sucks. I know. But like, because that was sort of instilled in me, sometimes I don't say anything because I feel like if I say something, it's going to like create more problems. Yeah, sometimes we don't want to take on the problem head on and like say the truth to them, like, because the truth can hurt someone's feelings, and then they like take some sort of revenge against you, and like sometimes we just as girls, like, we just want to ignore, and we just hope that they'll just forget about us there. So I do understand of taking that approach of just like leaving it alone at first and just, or being nice at first. But oh my god, I've had many experiences also when I was just nice as a friend to guys, and they take that as you're flirting with them. Just literally being nice to someone, they think you're flirting with them, and that's not the case. Like, girls can be nice to guys and it doesn't mean they're into you. We're allowed to be nice. What? No way. Yeah, I don't know who taught some guys out there that when a girl is nice, that means they're into you. No, that doesn't mean. Maybe if a girl is too nice, okay, if a girl is too nice to you, that's when you should start thinking like, oh, maybe. But if she's just nice, that doesn't mean anything. Oh my god, dude, that girl just cardioed me in the dungeon. I should ask her to marry me. Nah, Patra, you said hi to me at the beginning of the stream. We're totally dating now. I don't make the rules. Oh god. Nice equals she wants to marry me. All right, I'm glad you guys get it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Patra.